Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri, and is the world's first single barrel only liquor store. This business is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution list. That way you'll know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and what barrel picks they have in the works. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show. Happy Christmas Eve, everybody. It's Steve again. We are just finishing up our vacation here, getting very close. Right now, I am enjoying some at-home time with the family. We do our family gift exchange on Christmas Eve. So this will be, my mom will be there. I've got my sister in town, my 2 nephews. My brother-in-law couldn't make it. He owns a small store up in Fairbanks, Alaska, a general type of store, and the employee quit right before the holidays. So he is back working the store, but it'll be like the biggest family event we've had in a while. So it'll be, and my daughter and her boyfriend and obviously the warden. So that's what we're doing tonight, gift exchange. And then Christmas Day, tomorrow's my big family thing. So that's when my daughter Kat will come over and she'll open up her gifts from us. But we'll have the big family exchange tonight. And what's your traditions? That's what we got going on. Hopefully you're having fun too, friends and family, doing all that kind of stuff, enjoying some time, downtime away from work and that sort of thing. Of course, I'll be at the ABV Barrel Shop. If you're in St. Louis, stop by and see me. We'll be here until 8 o'clock, and hopefully it's just a crazy day. If you see me frantic, that's a good thing, because obviously that's our last sale before Christmas. So we're hoping for good things. It's exciting being in retail and owning a shop, and I don't know why I'm talking about all this. Here's the show. It's about, is bourbon on the rocks a cocktail or not? Now, I'm in the firm camp that absolutely it is. You'll hear that on the show. Other people will say it's not. I don't know what they say it is. It's just bourbon on the rocks, I guess. Like it's its own thing. It's totally separate from anything else. But to me, once you add something to bourbon that it was not put in by the distiller, that's a cocktail. But you listen to the show, form your own opinion. Have a good Christmas. Talk to you tomorrow.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we discuss whether or not adding ice to your bourbon makes it a cocktail. My name is McNeil. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, along with our special guests, Lenny Eckstein, Tim Fossa, and Dana the Dreamer 6.
Hey, gang, what's up?
Hey, guys.
How you doing?
Hey, so yeah, we're going to have an interesting show today. It's a discussion. It kind of got started when we had Phil Collin on a show recently because he says he's too lazy to make cocktails. But I notice every time he has bourbon, he throws ice in there. And I said, well, that's kind of a cocktail in my mind because you're adding an ingredient that changes the flavor of what's come out of that bottle. So we'll decide, we'll talk about this. Is that in fact a cocktail, or is he still just drinking bourbon? He would tell you that he's a bourbon drinker. He just drinks bourbon. He doesn't like cocktails. He doesn't do cocktails. So we'll talk about this. Is he actually a cocktail drinker? But we'll get to that after the break. For right now, Lenny said there's something he wanted to talk about. What is that, Lenny?
Yeah, so I might be a little late to this party, but I it was a while back on the way, actually, while I was traveling down to Key West to the Distiller Summit, I decided I wanted to learn something new that I didn't already know, that I was curious about. So I dove into the whole world of what the fuck NFTs are.
Yes.
And I've gotten quite the crash course, and I've in fact bought a few since. But I'm curious about what you guys think of this. I'm sure you've heard the acronym. I'm wondering if you know what it's all about, if you have any curiosity, cares, whatever.
No.
What you think about all this?
I've heard about it. I know just the most rudimentary. I don't know anything. I don't understand it, actually. Because
you're not in the minority.
I know, but I had literally until you and I talked this afternoon, zero interest in this. Now I have about 99.9% where I have to get up to speed, though. I'm still not up to speed. I got to take this crash course you took. Now, all of a sudden, I'm interested, particularly if I can utilize this to increase the empire that is the ABV network. So, yes, and you thought there's application there. So that interests me, because if it's another way to reach bourbon fans, I'm interested in it. I want to do it. I don't know anything about it yet. I will, though.
It's funny you mentioned, my oldest son is a financial advisor, and I spent the weekend with him at his river house last weekend, and I brought the same thing up. I'm like, what the hell? Explain to me. It's non-fungible token, I think is what it stands for.
Yeah, fungible. Yeah.
It's basically the difference between like handing me dollar bills or handing me a rookie card from a baseball card. So it's a piece of artwork or piece of whatever,
almost anything, but artwork is very common in this.
That is a unique item specific to itself.
Yes,
and it I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird to be at my age to think about that as a monetary. There's some crazy ones out there, but I still think they'll find ways to counterfeit this within the industry to do. There you go. Take a picture of your distillery and there. Oh,
right. There you go.
This doesn't have listeners, but I'm showing you a picture of, it's called a party horse. And this is actually affiliated with Maker's Mark. I just minted this particular party horse a little over a week ago.
Yeah.
To the tune of $450.
So you spent $450 on that, and it means literally nothing. You literally don't. If I decided I wanted to jack that exact horse, I wanted to bring that thing and make it mine and advertise it, there's not really anything you can do either. That's the weird thing about this. If you're like, well, I own this, it doesn't really actually hold up in reality.
Yeah, for me,
if I bought Keyboard Cat off of YouTube and that's my NFT, guess what? Someone else could come out with a keyboard, using the same Keyboard Cat thing, and there's nothing you can do.
Like, to me, like Barry Bonds' last home run, or something of that nature, is way more valuable than that stupid whatever someone creates on the internet. Like, if it's a Picasso, that still means more to me than a digital copy of a Picasso. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it. I probably will never be involved in it.
I think you're going to be involved in this.
I'm curious to hear all of your opinions, but like, just to float something by you, think about it this way: whether it's a Picasso or baseball, but think of it as something new created, and use a Picasso as an example. What if by buying that digital property, there's something tied to it that allows you to be involved in something? And that's the case with like these party horses. Everyone I just bought, in addition to getting a bottle of Maker's Mark with this specific label, which is cool and all, I also can go to this party at the Kentucky Derby. That's my ticket to go. So there's this utility that's tied to each of it as well, potentially, to build community. And
that's my, like, I've been lucky enough to go to three Super Bowls. And if my Super Bowl ticket is a NFT, whatever, and that's my ticket, I had it forever. Okay, maybe that's kind of cool. And because I could sell that ticket, but in general, people are just posting whatever and making it.
Some are, but
and there's all kinds of crazy shit out there. So if that's how I get my ticket, and it's a unique piece of artwork for this specific, but it has to be something pretty fantastic to be worth something to me. Like, again, like a Super Bowl or World Series, Stanley Cup type of thing. I'm not paying, for an NFT for just a regular Cardinals ticket, because there's no other value once I use the ticket. Like, no one's buying
I think Jim makes a good point. And then when you understand that the NFT has a certain value, just not a digital value, maybe you get more people interested in it. Like, I understand it on a very high level, have not deep dived into it. Like, I know what they are. But like, if you make it so it's like non-fungible, like it's not tangible. But if you put it to a tangible thing, I think that makes sense to more people, rather than just like, hey, stupid.
Okay, follow me. So Maker's Mark decides they're going to throw a party, and they look at this. They look at their cost and look at all the stuff involved in it, and they say, okay, the cost of this party to come to it, I think we need to charge $150. And then because marketing people are brilliant, they say NFTs are popular. What if we did all these crazy looking horses and just changed a little bit on each one so that each one is unique? And we say you get an NFT, and most people don't even know what it is, but they're suddenly, I'm buying something that's hot. I buy the NFT for $450 and I get into this $150 party. I have that. I've just sold my $150 party for $450 for doing nothing more than working with our digital artist on staff and saying, make 200 different horses that we're going to sell as NFTs.
I get that, but 2 years from now, what's that worth? Like,
it's worth nothing. That's the point. It doesn't matter what it's worth down the road. Maker's Mark has made their money. That's the point.
But it's me buying the NFT from like. So to me, I'm buying it as a $450 to go to the party. I'm not buying for the NFT as an investment.
Right.
I'm buying to go to the party.
Right.
From an investment standpoint,
what
happens?
You're all right. Like there's no right, wrong yet.
So Jim, you're in this business now because you do Friday tastings and they're going to be different prices. But your first one's $80. And if I came to you and said, "Hey Jim, we can work with my buddy Mark Hansen, who's a great graphic artist, and he can create NFTs, and you sell those tickets for $400, and you give an NFT with that." Would you say, "No, I'm not really an NFT guy, and I don't know what that's going to be worth down the road for them"? Or you'd be like, "No, goddamn, no, I'm going to sell it for $400," and people are if people are willing to buy it.
I'm a greedy bastard, so I'd sell for $400.
Right.
But for me, it'd be even better. Like if I could sell the ticket for $80 and have an NFT attached to it, and if over 10 years my tasting became incredibly popular, and then people want to start buying those NFTs from other people. That's to me the part that could be cool from an investment standpoint. But I would never go out and buy if Steve, I'm buying one of your classes. And if you're going to charge me an extra $200 to get an NFT with it, I'm not doing it because I'm not paying. I don't want the NFT. I want the class. But if you're going to give me the class and the NFT is my ticket to the class, and then in the future, like with all kind of sporting good tickets and shit like that, like if you had a Super Bowl ticket from Super Bowl I, what's that worth now? If you had an NFT ticket from Jim's Big Pour tasting one, that became worth something in 20 years, that'd be awesome. Wouldn't be money to me, it'd be money to whoever bought that ticket. Like that's to me where it is.
The topic is like, it requires hours of conversation to like, scratch into what exists now and what the potential is. But I think it's a lot bigger than, in my opinion, what a lot of people think, but I'm nowhere near an expert.
You bought this now, Lenny, and you're in it for $450.
Yeah.
So what exactly do you get out of this? Do you get a JPEG of that horse? And they're like, here's your NFT, or do you get a piece of like a certificate that says you own this and has that image on it? What exactly do you get when you buy one of these?
I'll try to answer that concisely. It's sort of the latter. It's not a formal certificate, but this whole blockchain authentication, and I'm probably butchering some of this, but what it really is, so you can download the same JPEG or PNG file to my NFTs, these party horses, or I bought this other retro wave deer thing. It's weird. I printed them out and I'm going to hang them on the wall. But really, to me, the value is like, think about an IPO for a company that you think is cool. It could crash the next day and, your purchase could go to nothing. But if you believe in it and you look at this and say, okay, this is like the early stages of this whole new thing. Well, maybe it should hold its value. So at worst, I break even. But for me, what was cool was in the morning when I went through this process of what's called minting, where you're actually, in a sense, creating it with all the variables. And, in the case of this horse, the hair, the eyes, the teeth, all of it, it comes together when you mint it and you pay for it. I did that. And I had my son, who's 8 years old, Arlo, sitting there. And I was like, hey, Arlo, check this out. I just minted 2 NFTs. Now, when you're ready to go to college, what I just spent, $400 and change on, you might be able to sell for your college tuition. Maybe. I mean, it's interesting. Why not? Worst off, I wasted money, and my wife.
Can I not make a copy of that and just print it myself? Like
you can, but you can make a copy of a Picasso.
Or like my generation was supposed to go to college off of Beanie Babies and Barbies. So the only other podcast that I really listen to is a finance one, and basically flags are all over the play on NFTs is what I hear. Yeah, so to me, I haven't been turned on or done any research on them, but they keep telling me no.
It's interesting though, right?
Lenny, could you do an NFT over a Bitcoin or a stock?
Wow. I mean, it's such a big subject. I
would go stock.
I feel like we could pick up like 20 shows, probably just deep diving.
I dip my toes in all of it. I think it's all interesting. I mean, I just like to see where things go, like I think it's fun to buy stocks in weird companies and just see what happens. I bought a stock in Joby, flying cars. I just want to see what happens.
Yeah.
If it takes off, pun intended.
We're talking about like we're all bourbon enthusiasts. We're a natural fit for this kind of thing where we
and honestly, like Lenny had a point. He's like, "Oh well, I wasted money. I waste money on dumb shit on a weekly basis. I'm going to be spending money on something."
I want to learn more, and I want to get in the NFT business. It sounds.
I figure he's got a whole series of ABV NFTs coming out.
From my perspective, sitting on the other side of the desk, where I don't have to worry about whether these things are going up in value or not. I'm the guy selling them. I think it sounds like a pretty interesting thing for sure. Yeah, I've been a traditional stock guy, and I tell you what, that's been good to me over the years. But I've divested most of them at this point. I think I'm only down to one. I'm down to one stock. That's all I've got left. At one point, I probably had 40 different stocks in different companies. I was, and did pretty good. There's a couple of them that went bankrupt, but for the most part, did really good with the stock. So, I mean, I like investing stuff and things like that, but this is just so different.
Yeah.
So, interesting. So, yeah, it sounds like a way that anybody can get into it. I just have to look up what you have to do to make these things official. So, not just me drawing something on a piece of paper and be like, "Here's your NFT." I want to make them legal.
Years ago, we just make those all NFTs.
Yeah.
Yes, I did famously a couple times in my career. I drew people. I was trying to when you're an author. And that's what I was when I started all this. And I started because how do you attract people? You find out you got to do everything. You're like a chicken with your head cut off. I'm doing this week. Well, I went into and I have no skills drawing, but I decided to start drawing people. And the funny thing was, people actually liked them.
People started asking.
They're so bad that people wanted to be drawn. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe those are worth money. I sent a couple of them out. Maybe someday that'll be like an NFT. My drawings, my bad drawings of people. No. All right. Well, guess what, gang? It is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? I'm going to go first. I've got Breckenridge here. This is the Powder Hound. We'll see what we got here. Bad form all around. Light cork pop, sloshing. Not good. What do you got there, Lenny?
I've got a pretty well-loved bottle of Barrel Armida.
Okay.
Typical.
I've got the lead. It was better than that. That was terrible. All right, Dana, what do you got?
I have a bottle of George Dickel Tennessee Sour Mash 8. So,
okay. Well, Dana has the lead.
Good,
Dana.
Sour Mash.
Dana, how about that? No, don't get Lenny started on Sour Mash versus Sweet Mash. That's a whole rabbit hole for him. He'll get you going. All right. What do you got there, Jim?
I've got some Booker's Hardstown batch.
Okay. Really good. I think Dana got you, though. I think Dana's still got the lead. How about that? Dana's got the lead.
Crisper.
Yeah. What do you got there, McNeil?
I actually have a Breckenridge as well. Mine is the port cask finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was good. It was cute. High pitched. I'm going to go with Dana's. More of a classic pop. That was better.
Mine was cute. Dana's was good, though.
Yeah, Dana gets it. A rare one. I don't remember Dana winning.
I guess Dana won for Dana.
She does this pull right from the bottle on that one. That was such a, we're
classy Tennessee.
Yeah. All right, what we'll do next, we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about, you got a glass of bourbon, toss some ice in there. Did you just make a cocktail? We'll just do that in just a few. Let's talk about the people who make these shows happen. First up is the ABV Barrel Shop. It is the most unique shopping experience in the world of bourbon, as the ABV Barrel Shop only sells single barrels. Owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot select. With over 100 distilleries on board to sell us barrels, we are home to the most unique and diverse barrel pick selections in the bourbon world. By signing up for our email, you will always know what we have in stock. In addition to the single barrels, we'll have a gift shop featuring ABV Barrel Shop as well as ABV Network merchandise. We are partnering with vendors like Art Eatables and Old Man Bay Signs to bring you unique items you can't find anywhere else. We'll also have a 24-seat classroom where we are offering educational and fun classes like Breakfast and Bourbon, a series where we pair donuts and bourbon, customer barrel picks, and opportunities to learn from master distillers and other bourbon dignitaries. Best of all, we feature a tasting bar where you can try before you buy. All of this is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. If you are in the St. Louis area, please stop by to say hi. If you're traveling in from outside the area, please take advantage of our hotel rates with the Drury Inn and Pear Tree Inn, less than a mile from our shop. This can be done via the links in our Visit St. Louis section on our website. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to plan your trip. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about the Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent trips to Kentucky. Today, he is amongst the leaders of young distillers leaving their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery yields insight on their unique family history, why their products are special, and gives you the opportunity to taste their whiskey, moonshine, and creams. Check them out at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com or visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
I'm MacLeod. Don't mix your grain and grapes. Not a good time. You're listening to the Bourbon Daily. Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we are discussing, is bourbon on the rocks a cocktail?
Yes, we are. This is something that, it started with that conversation with Phil. And because he was so adamant that he doesn't do cocktails, and I thought, you know what? Every time you put that ice in there, you're changing the flavor of that, which is kind of what a cocktail does. Now, it's, and he says it enhances it. Well, the people who are really into cocktails will tell you the things that they're doing to the whiskey enhances it as well. And so is that at its most basic form? Again, you're not doing much other than dumping some ice in there, but is that the simplest cocktail?
I have two feelings on this.
Okay.
So,
are they conflicting, or do they complement one another?
No, they're very conflicting. So I like breaking the rules. I like bending the rules. And I feel like this bends the rules a little bit because, like, literally you could call anything a cocktail. I kind of think a cocktail needs at least 3 ingredients, not including ice. But I like it. I'm not mad at calling it a cocktail because it does change the flavors. It changes the whiskey. But also, I think cocktails are a thing of their own, like where it's like you added some bitters, you added this, you created something beautiful. I'm conflicted about it. I'm not mad about it.
Even if you say it's got to have 3 ingredients, that's a MacLeod rule because that is not. It's not a regulation.
It's not a regulation. But
there's no government warning that, hey, this only has 1 ingredient besides the bourbon.
If I went out and I was like, when I go out, I really like to get cocktails because they're made well. Like, they make them better than I could at home. So, like, when I go out, I actually prefer to get cocktails instead of neat pours. If they just, like, bourbon on the rocks was on the cocktail menu, I would really be like, what the fuck? I would lose respect for this cocktail bar.
But do you lose a little bit of respect for the bourbon lover when you see him dump that ice in there? Because I kind of do. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
If that's how you spend your money on this bottle, if you want to throw some ice in
it,
more
watery? What are you doing?
If you like it better with ice, there's a lot of things I like better with ice. Honestly, I'm not mad at that person.
Let's just qualify it a little bit. What they are doing, the ice is whatever. It's the water. Because if it doesn't melt, all it does is cool it down, I guess.
Yeah.
And not, maybe it's warm out. Maybe you need to cool it down. You might as well use whiskey rocks, which I'm fundamentally opposed to. Yeah. But water, I get taking a purist approach. I'm a big fan of saying, like, I want to taste it the way the distiller or the brand intended it. But also, if it's like 120 plus proof, I kind of want to bring it down to 105 or 100. I did that last night with some Jack Daniel's single barrel that was a little higher proof than I felt like drinking.
Right. And again, the immediate thought is, okay, you're saying there's something wrong with doing that. No, well, that's fine. That's absolutely, you put rocks in there. If that's what you like, put it in there. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying you just made a cocktail, though. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't drink it that way. I'm saying you've changed things.
I'm going to from Oxford Dictionary. It's
so that was me. I was going to say.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I do very little homework, but I did homework and I Googled what is a cocktail? And it says an alcoholic drink consisting of a spirit or several spirits mixed up with other ingredients such as fruit, juice, lemonade, or cream. Ice is not mentioned. And
it's not mentioned, but it's also not limited to that.
Yes,
so I went to the next one. It says what cocktail means. And it says usually iced drink of wine or distilled liquor mixed with flavor ingredient. So unless you got some busted ass water.
Yeah, usually.
Like they do in Kentucky.
It does say usually.
Right.
Fair point.
I 100%. I had this argument earlier talking about the shows. I think once you add ice, it becomes a cocktail. You're mixing it with something else.
Yeah.
And I get you're allowed to add water to whiskey or to bourbon, so call it bourbon. But once the bourbon is made or the whiskey is made, I think at that point, if you add anything to it, you're changing the flavor, which is what you're doing with a cocktail. It may be the most subtle cocktail ever. It's not over exaggerated. It's very simple, but to me, you made a cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm just going to drop some reality on this conversation.
Okay.
If you talk to anyone who is super well versed in cocktail culture, I could be getting this a little wrong because it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure they're going to say this. A cocktail in the traditional sense is going to consist of spirit, water, bitters, and citrus, and maybe sugar. I can't remember if that's one of them.
That's a classical definition. But that being said, what is food? If you ask someone what is food, and you know what, when you're starving and in the middle of the woods, and maybe it's tree bark, maybe if you can grab any nutrients, that's going to keep you alive for another day. People are going to say tree bark's not food. But you know what? In certain situations, it could be. I'm saying the same thing with the rocks. It's not a traditional cocktail. But you know what? By definition, it certainly can be.
I'm not surviving the end of the world, and I'm like, God damn, I need a cocktail. Get me some ice for this bourbon.
And for me, the definitive thing that this is a cocktail is in one of the greatest movies ever made, which was by Steve Akeley, when he did Kindred Spirits. I believe it was Dixon Dedman made a cocktail at the very end during the credits.
He did.
And what was that cocktail consist of? It was literally just whiskey.
A glass and whiskey.
So that's a cocktail for goddamn. Then if you add water or a cube to it, it has to be a cocktail.
Yeah. So I think it can be self-definitive, right? Where it's like people make up their own definitions of things all the time. I just said it had to be 3. Lenny had a real definition. So yeah, if you want to say adding ice makes it a cocktail, then that's a cocktail to you, and I think that's fine. We could argue about it all day.
I'm gonna go edit Wikipedia right now just to say.
Yeah, but I know that if I walked into if you walked into Molly Wellman's bar, if you walked into Japs and read her cocktail menu and she said bourbon with ice, would you not be like, what the fuck, Molly?
Well, she wouldn't do that.
She wouldn't do that because it's not a cocktail in her world, in most people's worlds.
It might be. Well, she'd be a good person to ask because, again, is it on her bourbon menu? No. But does her bourbon menu have every cocktail that's ever been created? No. I mean,
it's not on her cocktail menu. Like, she would not say, hey, I worked real hard on this new cocktail because she makes amazing cocktails, like the best in the world, honestly. And she would not put that on there and consider it a cocktail.
I don't know. You're putting words in her mouth. We've got an event coming up with her for sure. If we don't talk to her before, we'll ask her there.
Well, here's another angle to think about, though. So you're saying bourbon and rocks is a cocktail. I'm going to say, I mean, not that we're voting on this, but I would say it's not. But here's what I would say is almost a cocktail. What about a bourbon that was aged in a maple syrup barrel or a honey barrel? Well, then you're adding one more ingredient to it, and it's almost there. Like,
here's what I say. I say, though, the distiller is presenting that, they're putting that in the bottle. I think a cocktail, to me, the definition of a cocktail is you're altering it from its original state for flavoring purposes.
What about a ready-to-drink cocktail?
What's about what?
An RTD cocktail. So you just open the can and pour it out. Is that a cocktail?
So That was going to be my next question, Lenny. So what about like those cocktails ready to go, or like the barreled cocktails? Like that's kind of a slap in the face to bourbon because you're going to pour those things over ice.
Yeah, I mean those are a cocktail because they take classic cocktails and just mix them up beforehand and put them in there. You know, it's the same thing. It's like a barrel aged Manhattan. Are you saying you don't believe that that's actually a cocktail then because it's coming out of the barrel? That wouldn't qualify as a cocktail because you're not changing it from what it came out of the barrel.
Because they put all the right ingredients into that.
Well, the same thing with the RTDs. They're putting the ingredients in there, and so I think those are still cocktails. Yeah.
What about a highball?
Yeah, that's a cocktail.
That's cocktail, right? But it's
two ingredients. It's only two ingredients.
Okay, so I'm gonna freaking just dig myself a hole and say that it is a cocktail because you have the highballs like the ginger, the bourbon, but there's ice. So that's
I could use whiskey stones to chill it.
I know.
Use your whiskey stones.
This is like the circle we're just gonna go in. I'm like, if you want it to be a cocktail, it's a cocktail to you.
Yeah.
I like that you're calling Phil wrong. I mean, it's funny.
I think that you're changing how the distiller, Lenny, you're a distiller. So you put that in the bottle, whether you proofed it down or you're presenting it barrel proof, you're saying this is what I think is the ultimate for this. If you're not doing that, or you're doing it just for the money, then I don't know. I think you're presenting the best it can be. I think that's always the case with what you're presenting. Yeah. Now, if I want to taste what Lenny thinks is the best representation of his product, I can't add anything to that. Once I do, I've changed it. And I think to me, the art of changing it is a cocktail, whether that's, adding a bunch of different ingredients and following what is a traditional cocktail or just adding something as simply as ice. I've changed it to the point where no longer do I have presented what the distiller has in mind when they put it in that bottle. Again, that's not a bad thing. Let me sell every bottle he wants. Doesn't care if you're putting ice in it, you're making cocktails, or you're just drinking it neat. I get that doesn't matter. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I just think it's a cocktail.
So Steve, in real time here, as we're talking, I'm on Urban Dictionary and you can add words. So I just made bourbon cocktail. And I put, if you add ice to any bourbon, it is a bourbon cocktail. So
there you go. There you go. Our millennials who like
conversation over.
Yeah, who like to turn to the internet and be like, this is it, the end all be all. So there you go. An Urban Dictionary, it says it's a cocktail. So yeah.
Well, if Urban Dictionary says it, it's happened. It's it.
It's been a big debate, and it's interesting to see people's takes on it. Most people say no because they think that it's not a traditional cocktail. But here's the bottom line. There is no real such thing as a traditional cocktail. There's no rules.
Yeah.
A cocktail is really what you want it to be, and I think that a cocktail could be as simple as just adding ice. So there you go. Oh, there you go. All right. We'll see. You guys can weigh in on it too, and we'll see if anybody else chimes in.
Some people do like some fancy smanchy ice, like with like some herbs and stuff in it. Like I think that could definitely be cocktail. Like you're putting the herb flavor in it. So I'm gonna say it can be a cocktail. I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. I'm gonna be a fence jumper on this.
MacLeod definitely is not definitive on this, so no. She's kept it open where she can then say, "Hey, I said this," no matter what the real answer is.
I don't have a wrong.
Congratulations!
Answer.
Congratulations!
I don't have a right one either.
Check Urban Dictionary for the next hour, and that will literally be. I submitted it. It's good to go.
Oh, there you go. Screenshot that. We'll use that to promote this particular episode. So. That's good.
If it comes up, I will.
Yeah. All right. There you go. There it is. Mixed reactions. I think Jim and I were definitely. It is a cocktail. I feel like Lenny, who stated for the record, he said no. I don't know what Dana said, and then MacLeod said it was, and she said it wasn't, and then just changed it enough times to flip flop where she has plausible deniability no matter what anybody tries to come after her with. So
can't be mad at me.
There you go. All right. We will ask Molly about this when we go see her, though. I think we need to do it live.
I think she would have opinions, but I don't think you would.
I wish I could call her live on the show right here, right now, but she's busy. It's in the evening on a Friday night. I mean, she's
working. She's working.
Yeah, she doesn't need me calling her and ask her that question. So, yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's the show, and we'll see what we'll have Molly weigh in, and whatever Molly ultimately says, I respect her so much. I'll just accept it, whatever it is, even if she goes against what I think it is. I'll live with it because she's the world's greatest bartender. All right, Dana, the Dreamer 6. we're going to wrap this one up so you can tell us where people can find you.
You can find me as Day of the Dreamer 6 on both Instagram and Twitter.
All right. Aren't you glad I streamlined that for you?
I am so glad. Thank you so much. Because when we get to this part and you get a little lit, it's very helpful.
Right. You used to have all these different rules.
Or something.
On this, I'm XYZ PDQ, and on this one, I'm this. I'm like, just be Dana the Dreamer 6, wherever you are. So there you
I
go.
don't remember any of mine except Instagram. So that's what I do.
All right, Lenny, how about you? Where can people find you?
Find myself and the rest of Deerhammer on social media at Deerhammer, on the web at deerhammer.com, where you can order our stuff, our bottles of whiskey shipped direct to your door. You can come visit us in beautiful Buena Vista, Colorado, and shout out to the Party Horse team. Nice work. I want my bottles of Maker's Mark, and see you soon.
See you soon. All right. Yes, coming soon to the ABV Network, NFTs. So we'll see. Jim, how about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Jim Fosnat, on Instagram at FozJim, FAZZJIM. And going forward, you can find me every Friday night on Eventbrite at Jim's Friday Big Pour Barrel event. So I'll be pasting out 3 barrels, 2-ounce pours every Friday night. So find me on Eventbrite. We'll have a great time together.
There you go. There you go. And your main landing page is ABV Barrel Shop.
ABV Barrel Shop, which is
so you can click that and follow it. Follow it. That way you know when he posts something new. So that's key. So yeah, check it out. And check out the ABV Barrel Shop. I mean, we've got that coming soon. We're getting ready to announce that. It's going to be on a Zoom meeting. It'll be like a press conference for all fans to see where we're going. So it should be fun. All right, McNew, how about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at McNewABV.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check it out because everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I would like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review. That includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theABVNetwork.
Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Another friend of ours is the Goldstein family at Goldstone Mill. The Goldsteins offer a variety of heritage and heirloom grains to make the finest whiskeys in the world. Plus, they are more than just a grain company. They are truly consultants to make sure the grains they are providing to you or your business meet your highest expectations. Additionally, they work with mills around the country, ensuring shipping is as low as possible for their customers. If you're a distillery, brewery, or even doing this at home, Goldstone can assist you. Check them out at goldstonemill.com, call them at 217-254-6613, or check in via email at hello@goldstonemill.com. Last but not least is the ABV Barrel Shop. While we don't get to play in the allocated bourbon game because we aren't selling the other products you have to do to get those, we do have access via our friendships in the bourbon industry to some really cool stuff. Have you ever seen your favorite craft distiller selling some really cool limited offerings only in their gift shop? I'm talking things like the hazmat offering Distillery 291 did for their 10th anniversary, or Neely Family Distillery's Papaw's birthday barrel. They don't have enough of it to send it out to distributors, so they only sell it via their gift shop. Well, companies like Distillery 291 and Neely Family Distillery have agreed to sell us 2 or 3 cases of these offerings moving forward, meaning our store will have the access to some of the rarest whiskeys in the world. Way more difficult to come by than the allocated bourbon offerings with the national release. Yes, they will be extremely tough to come by, but if you're a customer of our store, you'll have a chance to get them. Get signed up for our email or text list over at abvbarrelshop.com so you don't miss out.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.